Excellent. So everyone that's on, it's 8 p.m., and I want to go ahead and jump on this right now. We're on the Mind and Body Breakthrough, and we have Laura that I'm interviewing, a client of mine, and I tell you what, I'm so excited. There's supposed to be 21 people that signed up for the call tonight, and get ready. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask just a couple of questions to Laura, and she's going to go ahead and answer those, and she's going to let you know just about her process, the types of changes she's been able to make, and how she's been able to build her breakthrough, being far, far, far away from her home, and now she's living here in California. But before we do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to press star 5 to mute. Okay, so I'm going to press that. And you can go ahead and unmute yourself, star 6, Laura. And once you're unmuted, say hello, so I know you're there.
Hello, can you hear me?
Oh, hello, Laura's there. Excellent, excellent.
I'm here. Hi, everybody.
So I'm going to go ahead and jump in. I'm just going to tell just a quick story and give a little information on what this call is all about. And then we'll jump in and ask some questions to you, Laura. Sound good?
That's awesome. Sounds amazing.
Beautiful, beautiful. So we're here on the Mind and Body Breakthrough conference call that happens every Thursday night at 8 p.m. We're actually opening up Tuesday night at 8 p.m. too as well. And what I'm doing is I'm interviewing clients. I'm also interviewing mentors and coaches on this call. And I tell you what, I'm so excited about it because it's all about a breakthrough. It's all about an aha moment. It's all about, understanding that in life, that there is changes that we can make internally that will change our outside. And so there's no better way to be able to hear that than to hear it from, you're going to hear from Laura, but then also being able to hear from, other coaches that come on the call too as well. So remember, every Thursday at 8 p.m., also every Tuesday at 8 p.m., we'll be having this conference call. And it is sponsored by Thrive. So what I'm going to do is, at the end of the call, anyone that is interested or wants to know more about that supplement or wants to know more about, what I'm doing as far as, training-wise and things of that nature, you can go ahead and text me. And if you do have a pen and paper right now, you can go ahead and text to 442-333-5009. Once again, it's 442-333-5009. And there you would text SUP online. And that way I'll know where you're coming from because there's so many texts that are coming through, emails, and I don't even know where to start with them. So what I'm going to do right now is congratulate the person that just came on the call. Who just came on? Oh, yeah, you're on mute. I'm sorry. All right, so welcome in on the call. And real quick, I'm just going to tell a quick little story. It's kind of like a mindset shift and a mindset change, and I think that if each and every one of us can really work on this and make this a part of our everyday, being or just our everyday carrying that momentum, it's going to be very critical, I think, for you. And really, it's that inner talk, right? That inner self-talk that's so critical. And the only way I can think about it is through a story. And this story is, there's a quarterback. His name was Doug Williams. Doug Williams, he played for the Washington Redskins, and they were playing in the Super Bowl. And they had made it to the Super Bowl. And for him, not only in the 80s and 90s, he was an African-American quarterback, and you weren't supposed to be a quarterback when you're African-American, especially in the 80s and 90s. And on top of that, in the Super Bowl, he's playing against John Elway. John Elway was the best quarterback at the time. And they asked him, they said, well, how did you end up winning this game, right? And he said, well, I stopped listening to the inner critic, right? So what you feed, right, it's either your faith or your doubts. That's what's going to dominate your life, right? So what are you saying self-talk-wise? And we're going to hear a lot from Laura today that I believe, she's really used the self-talk. She's read books. She's taking care of her body. She's got mentors and coaches, and that's been huge and vital to her success, and I can't wait for her to share that, but that's huge for you too as well, is that as you start to implement these things into your life, kind of like Doug Williams, he ended up winning the Super Bowl, right? And there's 2.5 billion people that watch the Super Bowl every year, and they come from everywhere to watch it. And he was able to throw 6 touchdowns on that grand stage because he stopped the inner self-critic, right? So for you, what is it in your thoughts, in your mind, that you're not being able to change? Because we have 60 to 70,000 thoughts that go through our mind on a daily basis. And inside of those thoughts, they're normally more negative than they are positive. So if you could make that inner shift today, tonight, wow, how big can that be? And so for you, Laura, first question I would ask is, what is it that you've been able to do that's been able to create so much success and momentum? What has been your process, moving from Philadelphia to now here in Oceanside, California? What process have you been able to use that has been able to really just change your life?
Yeah, that's a good question, and thank you, Anthony. I just want to say thank you so much for having me on this call today. It's such an honor and a privilege to be able to have you interview me, and I'm so excited to share with you guys a bunch of things that's helped me over the past few years in my life. And to answer your question, definitely, has everything to do with the story that you just told about the mindset, because I can't even believe the negative mindset that I came from and where I am today. And for me, it all starts with my morning ritual, because even for me, as soon as I wake up in the morning, my negative thoughts, they will start playing in my head over and over and over again. So I have to stop them as soon as possible. So what I do is I set my alarm in the morning. I usually wake up around 5 a.m. I set it to a song that's really bright and cheerful, not like some alarm that's going to make me be like, oh, my God, I don't want to get up right now. This is the worst ever. And I also just found out, on the iPhone, you can put a little message of what you wake up to. So I put in my phone, thank you, God, because for me, every day is a gift from God, because you really don't know what day is going to be your last. So I thank God every morning as soon as I get up. And then what I do is RPM, which I learned from my life coach, read, pray, and meditate. So as soon as my eyes open up, I start reading. There's a couple apps, which I'll share with you later, of what I start reading. There's about 3 different apps. I'll read that right away. Even if I'm half asleep, at least I'm putting a positive thought, into my brain. And I'm not thinking of oh my God, all the things I have to do this, today. This happened at work and blah, blah, blah. My mind can keep going. So I read the apps on my phone. I say my prayers. I have some written down that, I change them from time to time. And then I just talk to God for a little while. Praying is talking to God, and meditating is listening to Him. So then I go and get my coffee. I read my daily readers. I have 4 of them, 4 books, and there's a message for each date. And then I go over, I have a little meditation altar set up in my apartment, which is pretty cool, because I used to just meditate in my bed, but then I'd fall asleep. So I made a meditation altar in my apartment, which is in a little corner. I go over, I have some incense or my candles I light sometimes, and I meditate, and I listen to God. And, I set my intention for the day, and I can meditate anywhere from 5 to 20 minutes. It depends, just when I feel comfortable that I got what I needed. And I ask a few questions. I ask, who am I? What is my purpose? What do I need to know? And how can I serve today? So I just sit there, and usually those answers will just come to me. It's all about, silencing your mind and being mindful and getting in the moment, because a lot of us don't do that. From the time we wake up, it's just busy from sun up to sundown, and there's no breathing, there's no thinking. It's just, meditating just really gets me quiet with myself and really helps me get centered to start my day. Then when I'm getting ready, I listen to either Joel Osteen, Les Brown, Will Smith, Oprah, Tony Robbins, Eric Thomas, usually on YouTube, or I'll go to the Joel Osteen website and just watch one of his sermons for a half an hour. I literally have to reprogram my brain. I have to rewire my brain for success. So I have to do that as much as I can possibly, and it literally starts from the time I wake up. So from the time I wake up till I'm leaving the house to go for work, I'm just feeding myself positivity and feeding myself positivity, because what you feed grows and what you starve dies. So I have to let all those negative thoughts just dwindle away, because they're still going to happen no matter what. You know, I'm not perfect either, but it really is all the mindset. That morning ritual, that's changed my life. And to be honest, I started doing a morning ritual about 5 years ago, and a friend suggested it to me, and she said, why don't you just wake up 10 minutes earlier than you normally do? And she had me read a few things. I'm like, okay, like I really didn't want to do that, because I usually just set my alarm for, had enough time to just get ready, eat, and then go to work, you know. But I did this, and something shifted in my head from just that 10 minutes. And now it's to the point where I wake up at least 2 hours earlier before I even have to go anywhere, because I just want that. It's like my sacred time in the morning to set the tone for my day. So, yeah.
Wow, that is just so powerful. I almost just want to be quiet and listen to you, you know, because it's just the wisdom that's coming out of your voice is just very powerful, guys. And I really hope that you have a pen and paper and you're writing these things down, because this tremendous success, you know, obviously starts in the morning with Laura, and, you know, setting her day the priority. And I love that. It seems like it's 3 to 4 steps, right? You're setting the intention for your day. You're listening to, you know, uplifting message, whether it's Joel Osteen, Les Brown, one of those types of people on YouTube. And then the third thing is you know, the meditation, which is being quiet for 5 to 20 minutes. And this sounds like you're doing this for about 2 to 3 hours now. It started off with 10 minutes. Now you're doing it how many hours?
So I wake up at 5, and I don't work till 9:30, or I don't leave for work till 9. So sometimes I work out as well within that time frame. But, yeah, I give myself a good, 2 hours before I have to go anywhere.
And this is powerful, guys. Don't let this pass by, you know. I mean, you know, you can start off with 10 minutes, just like Laura said, where this creates a change just in 10 minutes. But after, you know, 3 to 4 years or 5 years of Laura doing this, now it's turned into 2 hours. And it's the most critical, probably 2 hours of her day, is starting off in the morning like that, just slowing down. And real quickly, I want to, you know, just hear a little bit from, you know, your life coach, the life coach you have, because obviously when you got this life coach, this created a tremendous change. And I'm so much into mentorship and coaching, and how coaches can implement so many different types of changes in your life as far as mindset, teaching you how to learn how to love yourself. What's this coach's name, and how can people get involved with this coach?
Yeah, totally. That's a great question. My life coach's name, her name is Mikkel, and you can find her on Facebook. She's by far it's been nothing but magic since I've been working with her. I've been working with her since August, just this past August. She's actually taught me the RPM, the read, pray, meditate. I had a meditation practice in my life, but she suggested, you know, find a different spot in your apartment, you know, get an altar. And I'm like, what, an altar? Like, what's that? And, you know, I just was able to build on the things I already had and expand and see things. Or she always gives me another perspective of something like I never thought about. And one thing that we're working on that I totally love are the 6 pillars to success. And I did this about 6 months ago, but I'm currently doing it again. And there's 6 pillars. It's health and fitness, relationships, personal, lifestyle, greatness, and spirituality. And basically for each section, for every it's what do you want to have in each of these categories, and then you do for 3 months, 6 months, a year, 5 years, 10 years. And there's things that happened that I had on like my 5-year list that happened like 2 months after I wrote the list. It's just, you know, you have to. She really helps me focus on having a vision and having goals, because if you don't have goals, you just kind of stay stuck in the same place. So it's always, you know, till the day I die, there's always going to be something more that I can, you know, get out of life. And things are ever changing too, because some of these things on my list I read like months later, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to do that anymore. Like, I don't want to have that anymore. You know, things change in life. So I just love the process. I love what she teaches me. And basically what a life coach does is they're not giving you advice or like telling you what to do, but they're leading you back to yourself and to your own soul and to your own heart, and because everything you have in you or anything you need is already inside of you. So they're just like guiding you back to who you already are and just cracking the shell and breaking you open and to the potential you have inside of you, pretty much.
Wow. So such a game changer, you know, getting the life coach and then having you, just like you said, having that person that's helping you find yourself, that depth in you and expanding you. That's very powerful. So tell me right now, Laura, like as far as for, you know, we just talked about morning rituals. What books and apps are you using right now that's helping you as far as building the self-love that you have for yourself, that's helping you expand inside of you? What are you doing right now? What are you reading? What type of apps do you use?
Yeah, there's a couple apps that I use that I've been reading for years, and they're kind of like the daily readers that I read in the morning, but they're an app, and there's just like a little message for each one. The first one, it's actually on my Kindle app, but anybody really can download the Kindle app, and the book is called Each Day a New Beginning. It's by Karen Casey. And anything I say throughout this call, if anybody like didn't get to write it down, you can message me, or I'll put it in the group that we have, because I know I'm like saying a lot of stuff here. But it's called Each Day a New Beginning by Karen Casey. And it just gives you an empowering message every morning of it could be on any topic really, but it's just, again, setting your mindset for the morning, and it's just something I love reading. Another really, really good one, it's called Letting Go by Melody Beattie. She has a few books out too that you can buy, but this particular app is on codependency, because I used to be a really, really bad codependent, really codependent on other people, and now I'm totally on the opposite side of the spectrum, and I'm very independent. But if I don't like constantly work on that, I can go back to being that codependent person again. So that's what this app helps with. It's called Letting Go. And then I really like getting daily emails. So I signed up for Joel Osteen's daily emails. I get his that I read every day. I also there's a website called thedailylove.com. I don't know if anybody's heard of it before, but there's a guy, Mastin Kipp. And he's from he's actually from Kansas, but lives in California. Was in the music industry and pretty much got into drugs and, went, bankrupt pretty much, and was couch surfing. And he just decided a few years ago to make this blog, and he started blogging every single day, and now a few years later he's to the point where he's like a millionaire, like off of his blogs, and he wrote a book, and he has very inspirational messages. So his is thedailylove.com. You can sign up for his and you'll get them. He's now doesn't do the blogs, he's into making videos, and he does retreats like in Hawaii and like all over the country. Then the book I'm reading right now, it's actually by Lisa Nichols. It's called No Matter What, and it's amazing. It's a book on like just overcoming any obstacle that comes in your way, and she gives you 9 steps to living the life you love, and she just helps you. There's actually 9 muscles she helps you build, and like a few of them are like understanding muscle, faith in myself muscle, honesty muscle. Just like I just started it, and I can't wait to finish it because it's so good already. But yeah, I've read so many good books. It's just constantly, like I said before, whatever I can constantly feed myself. So I read 2 books a day. I'll read like a little bit of one in the morning and a little bit of a different one at nighttime. So yeah, and I know I'm like giving you so much information, but I'm just the constant flow of things, and that's what works for me.
Well, that's why, Laura, you're so perfect for this call, because when it comes to information, you're going to give so much life-changing information and breakthrough type of information that if anyone just implements one or two steps, their life is going to change. And that's what this call is all about. And that's why I was so giddy and excited when I was able to kind of tie you down and get you on the 8 p.m. call, because I knew when this 20 minutes, the way you would deliver is just second to none. And so I'm just so thankful for you, just the person that you are, the detailed information that you give. That's very, very important that if, like I said, anyone implements inside of this call, their life is going to get changed. Just one or two things. And, be sure to check out the show notes, because Laura's going to leave show notes, as well as Gina, my assistant. She's going to put show notes in there too as well. And then we'll have the call here too as well. That will be a replay that you'll be able to hear, and you can pass out to any of your friends. Because once again, any friends or family that you have, or coworkers or things like that, I mean, you listen to what Laura's saying. I mean, it's just so rich with content that, if they get a piece of this, how it could change their life. So how can we, why would we hold this to ourselves? I think a lot of people, what ends up happening is they get such great information and they just hold it in and they won't share it. And it's like, why? Why aren't you sharing it? Why aren't you sharing these things if you know that it will create an impact in someone's life? And to me, I think when I look at that and I see when people do that, to me it's very selfish. So, you do get that opportunity. There's going to be a couple different ways to be able to share this information, whether it's a call for persons like, I don't want to read this. Well, don't have to read it. Listen to it. You know what I mean? And if they don't want to listen to it, then they can read it. Because we'll have that in both arenas, and it'll be right here in this event. This event will never go down. It'll always be up. And also I'll share it on my Facebook, and I know Laura will share it on hers as well. But Laura, getting to the last question, and we'll go and open it up for any questions that people have on wanting to change their mindset or change their body. Actually, I'm going to do two quick questions. Is our relationship, how do we meet? How were you before we met, where you're at now, and where you're going? And also, too, can you give people a plan that you've done to be able to take care of your body, because you're in tip-top condition. And as a matter of fact, when I have a man by the name of Dominic Cooley, which is probably one of the best photographers in the nation, he does photography for people like LeBron James, Marshawn Lynch, just big time people, big time surfers, the biggest in the industries. But he asked me, he said, hey, man, I'm going to do a photo shoot, and I want you to be the trainer, and I want you to pick a client. And I didn't even think twice. I'm like, shoot, I'm picking Laura. I just hope that she's not busy, because Laura is in tremendous shape. She takes care of her body like no other. So if you can answer those two questions, how do we meet, where you were at before, where you're at now after that, and then also, too, what is a process that you use that you do training-wise to take care of your physical body?
Yeah, absolutely. Those are two great questions. Well, I will first off say my story is how I met you. And so I met Anthony shortly after I moved to Carlsbad. It's probably like a year and a few months ago now. I actually found the boot camp on a Groupon, and then I went to the website. So I went to the Way of Life boot camp, but then Anthony was doing a boot camp down by Oceanside Pier, so I went down there. And ever since I met him, he's been such an instrumental part of my journey. He just brings so much energy and passion and realness to whatever he does. And whenever I can be around you, Anthony, it's such an amazing exchange of energy, because I can just feel it like radiating off of you. And the boot camps have helped me so much, because I've had a pretty, like, looking back, this last year has been pretty tough, like not in a bad way, but just because I was still adjusting, like moving from Pennsylvania to California, which was my choice and my decision. But at the same time, a few months after I moved here, I found out that my dad had terminal cancer. So that was like really hard for me. But just going to boot camp, like, he always pushed me to the next level. He did everything in his power to help me. And I'd always get so much out of his little nuggets of wisdom that he shares during class, during class or the Saturday boot camps. He does like a motivational speech afterwards. And it just helps so much, Anthony, that you're always like in the flow. You're always reading new books and you're always like growing yourself. Like it's such an inspiration to me. And I was just thinking about this the other day. Like during class, you'd say things to me like, oh, you can make $180 an hour, or you can write a book, or you can be a life coach. And like I didn't know what to say back to those things ever, because like people don't normally just come out and say those things to you. But like I knew like he actually meant it, and I really thought like, wow, if I want to have those things, I can really have them. And one of the things that helped me move to California was when I read the book The Secret. I read it a few years ago. One of my coworkers in Philadelphia recommended it to me, and I finished it like all within like a day, and it was like the best book ever. And after I got to boot camp and met Anthony, I found out that he actually trained Lisa Nichols, who's like the star of The Secret. So I was like, wow, well, what a coincidence, you know? And I'm so grateful, too, that he actually asked me to help coach the Saturday boot camps. And that was so amazing and so inspiring to be in a community of such like-minded people. And I met so many friends there that I still stay in contact with, and I do things outside of boot camp. Yeah, so it's been amazing. And then I just want to share, too, the other question was about my process of kind of how I stay fit and healthy.
Well, yeah, you stay in a peak state. You stay in a peak state physically as well. So how are you staying in a peak state, especially being very, very busy? What are you doing to stay in that peak state? Low body fat percentage? Are you meal planning? What are you doing that is keeping you in this peak amazing state physically?
Oh, yeah. So I like that quote, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So back in August when I first started working with my life coach, she's also my health coach. So she's helped me develop a plan of eating for me where I balance out the carbs, proteins, fats, and I do meal prep, and it's amazing. I love it so much because I just take one day of the week where I make 7 lunches and 7 dinners. Breakfast is easy, so I can just make that every morning. And now it takes me, because I'm all about time. Time is so precious, and there's only so much time in the day. So I'm like, okay, I almost make it like a challenge to myself. So now like I take one day of the week. Right now I'm doing it on Wednesdays because I'm off on Wednesdays. And I think I made my meal, 7 lunches and 7 dinners, in like an hour and a half this Wednesday. Like it was just awesome. But what I love the most about it is it helps me not just like when I'm hungry, like grabbing junk food and eating it because I'm just so hungry and I just want to grab whatever to eat. I can, I don't have to pack my lunches for work because they're already made. I just throw them in my lunchbox and I'm good to go. And then when I come home from work and if I'm too tired to cook, I don't have to because my meal's already made. I can just throw it in the microwave. So by far, meal prepping is the best tool I've ever used. And I get to like measure out my meals too. Like for the rice, it's like a cup of rice. For the meat, it's 3 ounces. So it's not like I'm just like throwing together like whatever I want to eat. And then as far as fitness, I work out 5 days a week and I plan my workouts. I actually have this thing that's called a passion planner, and from 6 in the morning till 9 at night, like by the half hour, you can plan your day. So I actually plan my workouts. Every Sunday, I plan for the whole next week. So if there's classes I want to sign up for ahead of time, because some of the places that I work out, you have to sign up ahead of time, I'll do that. And I make sure I have 5 days. And one day out of there, I like to work out outside, to switch things up. So I make sure I have that in there. And if there's other things going on, I might have to rearrange the time that I work out, but I always make it work. So it's just staying committed and I have to keep the commitment to myself or else I feel out of integrity with myself. Yeah.
so powerful. And Laura, just an absolute winner. And you gave more than 2 or 3 golden nuggets. I think you gave about 20 golden nuggets. So guys, remember this is Laura is going to even be nice enough to implement the information that she just spoke about in this 20 minutes. So if you did miss it, it's all good. She's going to implement all the information in there. And also, too, we'll have a replay call for you that will be set up inside the event page that you can share with your friends, your family, and share with yourself, listen to. Because what has been said in this call from Laura from start to finish has been very, very powerful and very, very telling. And, yeah, just a little bit about my history with Laura is that, I've been, like I said, I've just been so blessed to be able to have her here on my side, and I met her just, not too long ago. Yeah, when she came into the Way of Life boot camp, and she just came in with a beautiful smile and just ready to learn. And from there, I could feel the focus and energy that was coming from her eyes, the energy from herself. And I said, you know what, this is definitely a person here that I'm going to give everything that I have to. And it's not like I don't do that with everyone else, but with her it's very special because when she came in, you could tell she was very receptive. She was very in a state of like, hey, I want to learn more. I want to be more. I want to do more. And I just kind of felt that off of her. And when she had came in, I said, okay, well, I'm going to give you everything I got at this point. So I knew I had to be on my P's and Q's as far as with my morning rituals because the type of people that I have the opportunity to train, like if you listen to Laura, I mean, she's at a peak state on a continual basis. She's got a life coach, a health coach, and Mikhail, and so Laura's very sharp and very intuitive on what she's taking in on a continual basis from anyone. Right, and so I knew I need to be on my P's and Q's, and so I've been reading, I've been reading my books, and I've been up on my trainings. I've been taking care of my body physically. It's the best that I can, and so I know one of the things that I was saying to Laura was, all in sincerity, honesty, and truth. But I wanted to create an ethos with her or stories for her that she would be able to take in and be able to build for herself. And so I knew right away I wanted her to be a part of the Saturday boot camp, but very fast I wanted her to coach and I wanted her to speak and present because I knew what she had to say and what she had to give would change people's lives, and she had. She's created relationships inside of the boot camp, and she's still a leader. And, and then from there I said, what, anytime that I have with her, I'm going to just impress upon her the talent that she has, not only mentally in her mind, but the talent that she has as a person to give back. And, yeah, I mean, you're, well worth for an hour $180, but even more than that. I mean, you could easily do $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 packages for people for 6 months because of what you do. You live it. You're about it. You know what I mean? You're probably reading 10 to 20 to 30 to 40 to 50 books a year. You're definitely planning. You're journaling, So the richness that you can give to a person can almost make them blow open in a sense, right? So it's just so powerful. So, guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and open up the line. And actually, you can open up the line on your own. You can just press *6, and that will unmute you. And what I do want to let you know is that anyone that is on this call, you're going to get the Laura Special. Once again, you're going to get the Laura Special, meaning that you text me at 442-333-5009. Once again, you text me at 442-333-5009. From there, you put SUP or online, and what I'll do is I'll give you information on the programs that I have. And then from there, what I'll do also, too, is I'll be able to give you the Laura Special. But I can only do that for 5 people. And I know that there was about 20 people that were here that were on the call, and then we had a lot of people that were invited, too. So we're going to send the email out to the people that were invited that weren't able to make it. There was over, I think, 900 people. So they're going to have opportunity to be having those 5 spots, too. So make sure you text me, let me know. My assistant, Gina, and my assistant, Katrina, now that is coming on, they're going to be able to help out, too, with these event pages. And before we open up this line for any questions, I do want to let you know is that next week we're going to be having Celeste on. Celeste is a trainer. She's only 19 years old and a life coach. And she's been able to turn this life coaching into her own online business and been able to make tremendous changes in people. And what she teaches is self-love, very similar to Laura. Laura is such a powerhouse. She can do the life coaching, the health coaching, and she can, she also is a dental hygienist. But there's so many different places that she can be and do. But she is in her dream place right now, which is a tremendous blessing. I know it's a tremendous blessing for the people that she's around, too. So we're going to open up star 6. Star 6, any questions that you guys have, please ask them right now. And so we're going to go ahead and open up that line. Any questions for myself or any questions for Laura on the mind and body breakthrough? Don't. All right. Make sure you ask some questions. Anyone got any questions? Let me see here. Oh, my gosh. Okay, so we're all unmuted. I'm glad I didn't unmute. Okay, so if you're here, say hello, hello, hello.
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 Oh, everybody.
Hello.
Whoa. Oh, yeah.
Hello. Hello.
Hi.
Oh, wow. All the hellos. Every time, guys, family, every time I mute, I'm always concerned because I'm like, oh, no, man, maybe people aren't hearing it. But, man, we're all here, family, so this is awesome. So is there any questions for Laura or any questions for myself as we round out this call in the next 5 minutes? Look to your partner and say, don't be scared. I love it. This reminds me of the Saturday
I have
weekend.
a question.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I love it. Yes.
What do you think is the most
Mikel.
important? What did you say?
I said, hi, Mikel.
Hi.
Oh, Mikel, what's going on? I love it.
I'm just like beaming over here. I'm freaking out. Hopefully your phone wasn't next to you as I'm texting you with unicorns and magic balls. I was going to ask you, what do you think is the most important part of your daily or weekly ritual to you? Because I know everyone's a little bit different. So what's the most important to you?
Oh, that's a very good question. The most important thing of my ritual, I'd have to say, is the meditating part, which has definitely grown over the years because I used to only meditate maybe once a week. And since in the last year, I meditate every single day now, and it really, really helps start my day out. Like I said before, it's just being mindful. I just have to clear out everything from my mind, and it so helps like setting an intention for the day. And usually what that intention comes down to is how can I serve? Because it's not all about me. It's I need to fill myself up every day so much that I can go out there in the world and be of service to others, because that's what my whole purpose, I feel like, here is being of service. Even if it's just making somebody smile or laugh or something, it's just being myself, So definitely I think the meditating part is by far the most helpful for me.
That is so amazing. I'm like smiles from ear to ear over here because I feel it, and I know exactly what you're talking about. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for the question.
You shared so much wisdom. Seriously, I really appreciate it.
Oh, I got so much from you.
Man, this is so powerful, guys, because it's really huge, the daily ritual and the weekly ritual. And by the way, Mikel that just, asked that question, I know for her it's like, she's really packed up, but, the fact of the matter is when you have a life coach or a health coach and they're able to guide you in a direction and be able to fill you up and then see those changes, and then now for them to be able to hear you on a call and hear those changes out loud, it's just so, so powerful. And what I would implore for everyone on this message is really, think about who is coaching you right now? Who is helping you get to that next level? Because if you don't have someone, I implore and really would ask of you to make sure you do that. And Mikel is definitely here where she's someone that you could PM on the Facebook. She's one of my friends. You could PM her, and, I know she's very, very packed, but I'll tell you what, she'll have some openings, especially if, it's someone coming from Laura, too, as well. So make sure you get with her and she'll be willing to get back with you probably within 10 minutes to at the latest within 30 minutes. So make sure you get with that. But real quickly, is there any other questions before we round out this call? We got about 3 minutes left, and I heard a lot of hellos.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
This is G.
G, what's up, G?
Yeah, I have a question for either Laura or Mikhail or you. What would you recommend for as a starting point for meditating for someone that's a full-time mom, that has a job, that has a house, that has to maintain all these wheels spinning, and that doesn't seem to be easy for somebody like a busy mom to find 20 minutes in the morning, because mornings are like, lunches and getting kids to school and this and that, and then after that is like work, and then after that is homework and taking kids to practice and this and that. So what would be like a good starting point, like something wouldn't take a long time for like somebody that's really, really busy, because I've been trying to find the time, and I can only find it some days, but so it's really hard for some, for me to find those 20 minutes every morning. So what would you recommend, like, to do that, or to start, I should say?
Laura, Mikhail, can you guys please answer that, and then I'll just beam off of you guys?
Sure. This is Laura. What I was going to say is I don't have kids, so I can't speak from experience, but what came to mind was, even if you have to wake up like way early in the morning to do it, like before everybody else wakes up, because it's going to be really quiet. You're going to have that full 20 minutes, even if it's like 4 o'clock in the morning. Now, I understand if you can't do that, but I was also thinking you don't necessarily have to meditate in the morning. That's what I do. That's what helps my ritual. But there's times throughout the day, or like if you're at work, like if it's in the bathroom at work for like 3 minutes, like, I feel like you can find a time throughout the day too. And I even, I forget where I read or saw this, somebody like actually put a sign on their door and closed it and said like meditating. Now, I don't know how old your kids are and stuff like that, but it's just a couple things that came to mind. Mikhail, I don't know if you have any other suggestions.
I think, what you recommended is completely possible to work for you, G. It all depends on your lifestyle, though. If you can wake up early, like Laura said, it doesn't have to be in the morning, but if you can wake up early, give yourself 5 minutes. Like Laura started with 10. I started with 5 and then moved to 10. You don't need 30, 40, 50 minutes. You need 5 minutes minimum to yourself one time a day. And maybe one Monday it's morning, maybe Wednesdays it's afternoon, maybe Friday night it's in the evening. So yeah, just make it your own practice, and when you can get it in and when you can get quiet time in. But like Laura said earlier in the call, you've got to plan. If you don't plan, you're planning to fail. So just plan that out per day and say, when can I get this in? And maybe just try and get in 5-10 minutes to start with.
Yeah, I would go, I would definitely, because I know exactly where you're coming from. And I think it really just beaming off what the lady said is really, I would say 5 minutes. Getting that extra 5 to 10 minutes in the beginning of your day and setting that up, setting that intention. So maybe if you do need to wake up maybe 10 to 20 minutes earlier than what you normally would when it's nice and quiet, setting that tone for your day, that would be very critical. And I think, it's exactly what they were saying too, the ladies, is that, it's centering yourself. I do it with deep breathing. Deep intentional breathing. So when I'm breathing in, I'm making sure that it's going past my chest into my stomach, holding it in there for 2 to 3 seconds, and then I'll let it out. And I usually do like a number of breaths, so I'll do 30 breaths. It doesn't have to be that, but you could do 10 or 20. But as you build and build and build, what you'll start to see is that your energy levels start to go up because the peace starts to come upon you, and then before you know it, you're doing 20, 30, 40 minutes. And you're waking up, it sounds weird, but you're waking up at 3:30 in the morning to get that hour before you have to have about 20 different arms that are coming out of your body, right? Because I mean you're a powerhouse, and what you're able to do, not only as a full-time mother, but then also too, a full-time job, being the head at your work, and then obviously taking care of your in-laws and your parents, and going back and forth from here to there. The full-time wife. I mean, you have a lot that's on your plate, and also too taking care of your body, which you do a great job of. I think those types of practices are very critical. So yeah, I think the information for sure that you got from the ladies are like right on par. So yeah, start with that, and also too, I have a book that I'll suggest for you too as well. It's by Brian Grasso, and I'll make sure to get that book to you. You can actually get it 99 cents on Amazon. It's called Mindset Matters Most. Mindset Matters Most, and I'll put that on our online group so you can check that out and read that. He has a six-pack. It's called the six-pack that he does, but he even does where he has gold stars everywhere in his house that remind him to go back into his daily and morning rituals. And, even when you have this, all this pressure that's upon you, having those times where you take a little bit of time for yourself. So, gee, I really hope that answers your question, and it starts a base for you. And I know that you got to get ready. You got to get that hot bath with Epsom salt in. We're going to be in there down at the beach tomorrow at 9 a.m. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah. It did make sense what you guys are saying, and I will put that into practice. So thank you.
Powerful. Yes, Jean.
You're welcome.
So do we have, maybe we got one last question. I know everyone's itching to ask questions, but I want to make sure that everyone's able to get to bed on time. But we'll go ahead and open it up for one more question for Laura. Do we have one more question there out there?
I have one for her, for Laura.
Great. Who is this?
Yeah.
This is Mandy.
Oh, my gosh. Another
Yay,
superstar.
Mandy.
I love it.
Of course. I have a question for you, and this came from personal experience, so I would just love to hear from you because, you're very insightful, honestly. So when you run into something that is, what everyone comes across is sometimes scary or fearful, or you get nervous, like you start doubting yourself, like, oh my gosh, can I do this? What is something that you tell yourself to conquer that fear and to grow and to continue to grow outside of your comfort zone? What is something that you do in those moments?
Wow, that is such an amazing question. I love it. Very powerful question. Let me think. For me, when I'm in that moment, I came up with this before. It's called the 10-second rule. Like whenever I think of a negative thought, if I don't change it within 10 seconds, it turns into another one, then another one, then another one, and it kind of like snowballs. So I had to learn how to like change my state of mind, and I used to be able to change that. I took a class called Intense Sati, which I know you know about, a lot about it because I told you about it. But it was saying positive affirmations and kind of like retraining your brain. But since I didn't have that option anymore in California, I had to find a new way. And I actually read about this before of how to change your state of mind. You change your focus. You think, what are you focusing on? What's your language and your physiology? So for me, it's like, what am I focusing on? Like a horrible outcome, like, oh my God, like, am I going to fail? Or like focusing on winning, and what is the language I'm talking to myself? Am I talking defeat over myself? Am I talking, negativity, like doubt, worries, fears? I have to take a look at that. And then my physiology, like how am I moving? Am I walking around like, oh, with my head down, oh, like I'm the worst person in the world? Or am I walking, in confidence with my head tall, I got this kind of thing? So I don't know, that just came to mind with your question. So I hope that helps a little bit.
No, it definitely does. Thank you so much. And you are doing amazing.
Welcome.
All of this has been phenomenal.
Oh, thank you, Mandy.
Wow. Yeah, by the way, Mandy is a powerhouse as well. And, man, you know what? Do you have time for one more question if there's someone out there that has one more question, Laura?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, great. So anyone out there, one more question. Did you have one more question? Well, awesome. It sounds like everyone got all their questions answered tonight. So, Laura, I want to thank you so much for taking the time, just to be here on this call tonight, for all the insight, wisdom that you gave. Is there any last final thoughts that you have for everyone?
Yeah, well, I just want to thank you again, Anthony, so much for having me on the call, because not only does it help all you guys, but it helps me too, just repeat this stuff back to me, and it kind of reminds me of how far I came, because sometimes I forget and that I do these things every day, and they're not things that other people usually do, but to me it's just my normal routine. But yeah, thank you so much, everybody, for all your questions. And my best advice I can give to everybody is just, celebrate every step along the way, and know that every day you are exactly where you're meant to be. Even if it's one small thing that you do every day, each step counts, and each little step ends up being something big. So that's my little takeaway for you guys for tonight, along with everything else. And, yeah, thank you so much, Anthony. I really, really appreciate it.
Well, I really appreciate you, Laura. I really appreciate the time that you gave, and I really appreciate the insight that you gave to the Mind and Body Breakthrough call and just the family that got on. And I'm really excited, guys, that you guys gave your time to come on this call tonight. I know you could have been doing 1,000 other things, but I know that this time was well worth it, especially hearing from Laura. So Laura is going to be giving us a gift, which is very powerful. Once again, is that make sure you check up on the event page, and she's going to be leaving her thoughts on there and insights that she had, which I believe that what she's going to leave as far as insights-wise, someone should be paying thousands of dollars for, right? Because it's going to create that change. You do one or two of the things that she's going to write down for you on this event page. It's going to change your life. And also, too, Gina, my assistant, which is she's so amazing, she's going to be leaving her insights, kind of like a mini blog, too, as well. And then we'll have the replay, right? So you can share with your friends, your family, and coworkers, and you could do it in that light, too, as well. Remember, next Thursday, we'll be back on 8 p.m. with Celeste. She's a trainer, 19 years old. So I'm really excited to interview her, especially with my kids growing up, too. I'm like, how are you doing this at 19 years old? But she's blowing up the business. She's on podcast after podcast. She's giving just a little bit of her time to the Mind and Body Breakthrough family. So once again, guys, I want to thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and press *9 to record this and make sure it's all recorded. So you got this. And everyone have a great, prosperous night. Thank you so much. Bye, Laura.
Bye,
everyone.
Bye, Anthony. Have a great night, everybody. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye, thank you.